everyone, I'm Carrie Pena, and this is Good Morning Sunshine. We want to welcome to our studio Dr. Tricia Pingel, who has been with us before. Thank you so much for coming back to the show.
Thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me.
We're talking today about adrenal fatigue, and I saw the notes you sent over to our producer. 80% of people have adrenal fatigue. First of all, what is that?
Yeah, well, 80% at least have adrenal fatigue. That stat came pre-pandemic, which it has soared since then. So let's talk, what is adrenal fatigue? I think historically, we look at it as your adrenals are failing, but that's not actually the case. All it means is that your body is adapting to stress. So we have a hormone called cortisol that's supposed to be highest in the morning, lowest at night, and it drops throughout the day. We sleep well and it wakes us back up, our normal circadian rhythm. So adrenal fatigue simply means that the cortisol is firing at the wrong time. So the curve could go backwards or up and down, and this causes symptoms that are often missed.
What are some of the symptoms?
Yeah, it could be anything from something like hair loss, insomnia, weight gain, all the way to things like diabetes, cardiovascular disease, cancer, dementia. It starts as a symptom type scenario and grows into a disease scenario, and it's something that most physicians are not paying close attention to. We've historically always thought of stress as a mental disorder, but currently, with our times and with our technology and the toxins that we expose ourselves to, this is actually becoming a very chronic and really serious adaptation to stress.
How do we get tested for this?
Yeah, and that's always a great question because it's such a long list, and it's something that I look at the body as a whole being. Health is not black and white. It is a spectrum. It starts here and adapts over time. So you have to look at the body in a holistic way. One great way to start would be to look at salivary cortisol levels throughout the day. Typically, you would test it 4 times throughout the day and just see where your curve is. And that's a good indicator as to if your body is, experiencing adrenal fatigue. And I honestly believe that all of us have adrenal fatigue, Carrie. It's just really about how extensively has our body adapted to that stress.
So would we need to find a doctor to test this, or their take-home test kits? I mean,
a doctor is always
break it down for me.
Break it down. So there are some take-home tests that you can do. I think it's always best to have a naturopathic or functional medicine doctor that's really looking at the body holistically. We're so quick to give a medication, say for heartburn, we just throw a medication on the table. Well, what if heartburn is actually an indication that your body is under stress? What about the anxiety, depression? We're seeing that grow rapidly, particularly in the younger population. What if we could nip that in the bud by really looking at how their body is adapting to stress rather than throwing a bunch of medications in them, which could ultimately cause more stress?
So if you do have someone come into your practice who you find that they're suffering from adrenal fatigue, then what do you do? What's next?
Okay, so there's 4 basic steps that I look at. Number 1, I look at nutrition. I look at exercise, I look at supplementation, and I look at mind-body connection. So the nutrition and supplementation kind of go hand in hand. When your body is under stress, you actually lose certain nutrients. B vitamins, vitamin D, vitamin C, minerals, magnesium. So we need to replace those in the diet and with supplementation. Exercise, need to focus on exercises that not only strengthen the body, but also calm the body. Right? Pilates, yoga, Tai Chi, dancing. Dancing's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And then mind-body connection is where most of us miss the boat. Because there's a lot of external stress around us, and I don't think people will argue with the fact that we bring energy from other people, and there's a lot of stuff that's out of our control. But one thing that we can control is how we interpret that stress, how we set our boundaries, how we live our life, how we pay it forward, and the rituals that we go through every day, such as deep breathing, meditation, gratitude, reframing. These are the things that I see honestly make the biggest difference, and the things that we've lost. We've lost that over the last few years. We forget to be grateful for every moment that we have on this earth.
I think it's really important to protect your environment to the extent that you can, and to reduce the stress that you feel because of people around you. I mean, that is something that to a certain degree can be controlled. And I think that's a really important point that you make there. And I know I see your newsletters often, and they're really good. You give a lot of information, but I know you like to warn people about vitamins. just give a quick warning about how, because I read this all the time, I'm like, oh boy, she doesn't like all those vitamins that we're taking. So you say that a lot of vitamins really aren't quality.
They aren't. I mean, our body uses nutrients for a purpose, right? So a lot of people would say, well, if your hair is falling out, take biotin. Well, if you don't have a biotin deficiency, it's not going to do anything, right? We have to look at how these nutrients are utilized in our body, which means the form matters, the quality matters. A lot of these vitamins are infused with additives and things that cause more stress on the body. So the quality of your vitamins are really important, and the ones you take, they need to have a reason. Otherwise,
Yes.
why take them?
Right, to pay attention too to what your body is telling you. So if someone is watching this and they say, okay, let me check this out and find out if I am suffering from adrenal fatigue, what sort of improvements can we expect to happen in our lives if we identify that and we get a hold of it?
Joy. I mean, living our lives to the fullest potential. I think all of us want to live as long as we can, as healthy as we can. You know, there's a difference between lifespan, right, and health span. So we can live a certain number of years, but how many of those years are going to be productive and active and enjoyment? And I think that's what all of us really want. We want to live full, productive lives. And by reducing the stress on the body, we can actually do that. It actually improves our aging, less wrinkles, we all love that, better hair, better weight management, more active, more present in life, and therefore less disease development. The top conditions in our country are all linked back to stress. They're all linked back to the adrenals, every single one of them. So I get asked often, you know, doc, how do I prevent cancer? How do I prevent diabetes? How do I prevent cardiovascular disease? And if you're not paying attention to the adrenals and how you interpret stress, you're not doing yourself the justice that you deserve. We can actually prevent so much disease by just looking at the adrenals alone.
Thank you so much for coming back to visit with us. And where can people find out more? What's your website?
drpingel.com.
I love it. Like I said, that newsletter, girl, you got that on lock. I like that newsletter because there's always a lot of very focused information in there. And I appreciate that you care about really contributing to the public space. You're not just trying to get clients walk in your door. You're really committed to try to help people improve their health and wellness.
I want nothing more than for everyone to just live their best life. Whether that's working with me or someone else, I just want them to recognize the things that we can do and the power that we all have within ourselves to be well.
You rock. Thank you so much. Good to see you. And thanks to all of you for watching. I'm Carrie Pena, and this is Good Morning Sunshine.